Happy Monday. Brent Tallman here with Fairway Independent Mortgage with the mortgage market update for Monday, October 23rd. There is good, there's bad, there's good. So pay attention to this. We got a lot of good, valuable stuff in this market update for you. First thing, let's check in on the rates. Rates, unfortunately, have gone higher. Average conventional rate, according to Mortgage News Daily, which is the place to go to if you want to get real estate and mortgage news. They're current, they're up to date. It's an amazing app, Mortgage News Daily. Check it out. Conventional rate, average conventional rate right now across the U.S. is 7.97. That's up by 0.31 from last week. FHA stands at 7.40. That's up by 0.38. VA stands at 7.44. That's up by 0.30. And while rates are continued to rise, they went above 8%. Then they dipped down because we had good bond markets Thursday and Friday. Bond markets are what drives interest rates always. It's not the Fed policy. What the Fed policy does, however, is it gives insight into bond investors and into lenders, and that's where they impact the rates. They do not directly impact the rates. So with that being said, there is some silver lining in spite of the bad news. Here's the bad news. Home sales, the lowest level in a very long time. Interest rates went above 8% for the first time in 20 years. And mortgage loan applications, their lowest level since 1995. So if you see all that, it's doom and gloom and not good. And while those numbers are not what we want to see or what we're hoping to see, there is some good news. And the good news is this: unlike the housing crash, there is very low inventory. There are still way more buyers than there is homes for sale. So there is business out there to be gotten. You just got to go and get it, and you got to work probably twice as hard or 3 times as hard as you did before. The other thing is the Fed has signaled that they do not plan on raising interest rates anytime soon. They plan on holding these rates for a while and possibly lowering them late 2024. Now, they're in blackout mode because they're meeting on November 1st, and that's when we'll get their new outlook. But that's the signaling of all the Feds that have commented that we're going to hold the rates and we're not looking to increase anymore, and hopefully in 2024 at some point we'll begin to reduce them. Obviously, that's all dependent on economic news. If the economic runs high, inflation runs high, rates will continue to be elevated. But if the economic slows down, then they will slowly begin down the rates. The other thing is inventory is low, so that means it's still a seller's market. It's buyer friendly, but it's still a seller's market, and there's still homes to be had. And home values have gone up. So home pricing's gone up, home values have gone up. That has not decreased at all. So it's still the number one way to build wealth in America, despite what the rates are, despite what home pricing are. It's still the number one way to build wealth in America is through home ownership. And so that brings me to, what do you do about that? What do you do about this market? And here's where I want your shift to be. I, as a professional, and you as a professional, need to put the needs and wants of our clients above anything that we need or want. And with that being said, this is time for you to develop yourself and become a home advisor to your clients. Become that home counselor, that trusted source that they can go to regardless of what's happening in the industry, regardless of what they're facing. They can go to you and they know they're going to get the best professional advice that's going to be best for them. So become a home advisor. How do you do that? You have in-depth conversations around other things besides just rates, payments, home pricing. You have in-depth conversations around what other debts do they have. The average consumer has over $94,000 in consumer debt. So that's interest rates, that's credit cards, that's car payments that directly are impacted by what the Fed does, and their rates have gone up drastically. So have a conversation. What is your monthly output when it comes to debt? So if they're looking to sell, you need to ask them why they're selling and why they need to sell, and understand that. And then ask them about their consumer debt. Maybe they have a 3.5%, 4%, and they're going to go to 7.5% if they buy a new home. And that's definitely a concern. But if they can use the equity in their home to get rid of all this other debt that they have that would substantially lower the amount of interest that they're paying, that would lower their monthly output, that would put them in a better financial situation, then that's the kind of advice they want. And the other thing is, really have an in-depth conversation around why they want to buy and why they need to buy and why they want to sell and why they need to sell. Understand that and focus on that, not necessarily what the price is, not necessarily what the payment is. Because of the fact of the matter is, the third conversation you need to be having is the cost of waiting. Because there is a cost to waiting. Everybody that has waited in the last 2 years that I know of has paid more for a house, higher rates, higher sales price, and for less. So there is no benefit to waiting. Yes, none of us can predict the future. But I've said many times, if there's a housing crash, it's because the whole economy has crashed. And that means none of us are in a good place. So there's a cost to waiting that you need to have a conversation around. And remember this, as a home advisor, it's not necessarily about getting a sell today. Yes, you're looking for that. Those people that are ready to move. They need leadership on that. But it's about setting yourself up for future business. It's about setting yourself up to get referrals. And so really, really encourage you, now's the time to develop yourself into being a home advisor, home counselor, that's setting yourself up and your clients up for future success, because that's what our focus needs to be. And last thing I want to say this, we have an amazing opportunity this week for growth and engagement and connection. And that is through our Realtor Happy Hour. It's this Wednesday, October 25th, Citrus City in Lake Mary from 5 to 7 p.m. Come have a couple drinks on us. Bring a referral partner with you, bring a realtor partner with you, and just connect, have some fun, relax, and we'll talk about life, and we would love to see you there. Take care, have a great day, and remember this, now is always the best time to buy.